Welcome back to Bucket's WNBA edition. I'm your host, Jim Turvey. We have one weekend of playoff WNBA action in the books. Really just one big day of basketball. It was a great day. And Sunday, 4 game ones. To break it down with me, we're going to look at those game ones. We're going to look ahead to game twos. I've got Dano, Mataya. Dano, week off, so we got a lot to catch up on. How's life been? But how were your game one experiences over the weekend?
Life's good. Been all over the place. LA, New York, back in Texas. It's hard for me to get over. I was literally going to get coffee today and was like, God, my afternoon would be so much better if AT just made that goddamn late.
I had it in the notes. I was like, I should have set this is a betting podcast. I should have set the over under on how many words it would take you to get to AT layup, because I know that one, that one stung. That one you put yourself on Phoenix corner, and man, they had it. They really had it there. Let's talk about that game real quick first, because that was the marquee game of the weekend. I think it was an ugly game, but overall pretty good game. Did you think Phoenix deserved that win? And then AT just blew it, or do you think in the end the Liberty probably deserved that, but you still don't mind getting in on Phoenix at some point?
Hard to say. I mean, I think they shot the ball terribly. Shooting 32%. You don't score 70 points in a overtime game, and Satu goes 2 for 17. AT 1 for 6 in the fourth, misses 2 free throws, and then obviously the layup, which probably made that shot 1,000 times. And, I think it was the right read. I mean, I think, New York did some things well. We don't have too many numbers to go off in the last 2 years on how many overtime games they've had, but in both games they've had, they've won in dominating fashion. Game 5 of the finals last year, and then this game 1, they took the early lead on a Natasha Cloud 3. Shout out to you for all the Cloud props. Couldn't have read that better. I mean, I literally, it's like the minute I saw those plays come in, I'm like, it's like a playoff toss just like rang in my head. It was brilliant. So, I think Cloud was phenomenal for New York. I think Sabrina probably played her best that she's played since the drought kind of started pre-injury. And I think Stewie was exceptional on both sides of the ball. And I think one thing that we saw different from years past is Sandy only going 7 deep, and that is probably what you're looking for in maybe the finals. I didn't think she'd do that. I thought she'd play at least 8. No Marine minutes. Emma played sparingly, but It's a tough game. I think I was under, watching it thinking, wow, Phoenix is going to steal this one playing like shit. So, to answer your original question, I think New York probably deserved the win.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because I was watching a game. All the compliments you had for New York, I agreed with you. I thought that all of their players played well. I thought that Phoenix played really bad. And it was somehow a game. It didn't really make a lot of sense, and it probably isn't a great sign for the Liberty, who now potentially are without Brianna Stewart too. We don't have a final verdict on that as we record here. What did you see in that injury? I'm not great at seeing something live and being like, oh, I think that's an XYZ injury. I have some people in my ear saying they don't think it's an ACL, but I also can't imagine her playing in game 2. What are your thoughts on the Stewie injury? Was it at the end of the fourth? No, it was in overtime, right? With like
overtime.
2 minutes overtime. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's nothing, structural. I think she's just a super, super lean, skinny player and very bony. And I think a lot of us who have played have had those interactions where it's bone to bone and it hurts like hell. I don't know if it's, inducing of tears, which is a little cause for concern, but it didn't look like hyperextension or anything like that. So, I'm operating under the assumption that, she has to get pulled. I don't think she's going to play game 2. If anything, it's a week-long injury at worst, and she misses a series. Can they win without her? Sure. Is it going to be harder? Absolutely.
Yeah, let's just go into that series. I'll pause very briefly. I'll say, so over the weekend we had all the favorites win, because New York was a very small favorite going into the game. 3 of the 4 road team or home teams won. So the Minnesota Lynx cruised. We probably won't have to spend too much time on that series. Aces cruised at home, and then the Dream picked up a pretty solid double-digit win, 12-point win there. But I do think Phoenix and New York is deservedly where we should spend a little bit more time. So let's go to that series to kind of start. What the setup for this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the game 1 takeaways and then game 2 bets for each of these series. So if we go into Phoenix and New York, obviously we've talked some takeaways already, that New York looked good, that Phoenix didn't look good, that it was still a game despite those 2 things. Now we are headed to New York. Phoenix is one of the best home courts. I do think that's part of the reason that even though they were playing poorly and New York was playing well, that it was very much a game. I think that Phoenix home court's one of the best and kind of underrated home courts in the W. I think I see this as 2 things here with the Stewie injury if she's out. Because on the one hand, of all the injuries, I was talking to Joe Dallaire about this. Emma can slot in to Stewie's starting spot in the starting rotation. She only played 12 minutes last game. You can kind of give her the Stewie minutes. And then Niara Sabali, who didn't even play last game, but was one of their best players in Game 5 of the finals last year, played 0 minutes. So she can kind of slot into that backup role that Emma was in. So it, theoretically seems like, okay, of all the spots, maybe it's better than missing Cloud or Sabrina. On the other hand, it's not coincidence Stewie had the game best plus minus in that game, and she really looked like the Stewie of old. You mentioned the defense on AT in particular, and just defense in general. Her length makes it so easy to switch things and just be like, all right, we're going to recover, and Stewie's length is going to get out to whoever it needs to. I think it's part of the reason Phoenix shot so poorly is the Stewie defense. The Liberty defense looked like that Liberty defense we know that it can be at times. So of those, kind of on the one hand, on the other hand, are you reading this Stewie miss as, okay, we've got some, and I say Liberty have got some pieces to slot in to fill in for her? Or are you like, I think this is a massive deal. Her defense in particular is really going to be missed. And I'm worried if I'm New York.
I think I'm worried just because of the gravity that Stewie kind of affects. Really, offensively, she hit a 3. She hit a crazy turnaround shot, that was, I think, to tie the game or to go up to. She's one of those players I think they depend on in late game situations. But and then rebounding, which against Phoenix, I think a lot of teams like to take advantage of.
They had, I think going into the fourth, they had like a 14-point rebound edge. I'm not sure where it ended the game, but that definitely was the way that they were getting at Phoenix in the game.
Yeah, but I think, a reason why I'm back in Phoenix again is because we have not seen them shoot this bad and play that disjointed 2 games in a row in a long time. And, backs against the wall, I think a lot of players on this team are vets that, or have been in similar playoff high leverage situations that, know what is expected and know what is needed. 34% of their points on the year come from the 3, and they were 6 of 29. Abysmal and only scoring 69 points. And I felt like the offense just stalled. Late game, it's kind of shot clock's getting down to 7, and then it's just AT drives and let's hope for something good, or Satu takes a terrible pull up. So I think Nate is too good to not make adjustments. But I've said that before, and I've been not as impressed. We forget he got swept by the Dream this year. They were only to win 1 game against the Aces, their first game, then got beat 3 times. Granted, some of those were close, but they've had success against the Liberty. 3-1 this year, and now count this playoff game 3-2. I think they find a way to get it back home. it's not like anybody is uncomfortable playing in that arena or in this environment. So it's really, I do think there's going to be some regression to the mean in terms of shot making. Uh, I think Satu has to see the noise online, and I mean, it probably wasn't talked about a lot, but Sandy playing that rotation, like all her best players, 39 plus minutes, and
Yeah.
Kalia Copper was in foul trouble the majority of this game, and probably lost a little bit of the rhythm. And I think we could see a monster Ka game, which we've seen her do in New York before. So I think the points are going to come in bunches from them.
Yeah, so let's use that to transition into talking about bets. I mean, clearly, as you just walked through, you're leaning towards Phoenix. You've got Phoenix money line as the best bet, and you've got Phoenix team total as the best bet, the over there as well. Is the Stewie part playing into that? Is the shot regression? Is it kind of what you just laid out, or is there more to add that we haven't broken down in particular?
I mean, I think Stewie being out would be fantastic, but this team, every time they've scored under 70, they've responded by getting at least 80 on, I think, 5 or 6 occasions, and the 6 being 79 points. So, I think they can get to this number. I mean, the fact that they didn't with an extra 5 minutes of game time, that they didn't crack 70 is bad. But playoff series are about adjustments, and it's not like they wouldn't have had to come to New York anyways to try to win this game. So, something's got to give, and I am backing the team that played bad and almost had a chance to win it to come out much better.
Yeah, I think you make a very good case. So I don't have a strong lean either way on this game, because I think you make a very, very good case for Phoenix. And I think, gun to my head, that's the direction I would lean. But I do think that the home crowd, like as much credit as Phoenix's home crowd gets, the Liberty home crowd is really good. And Barclays will be ready to roll. And if Stewie is out, they'll have kind of the natural, backs against the wall, even though they actually have the 1-0 lead in the series. Plus, I mean, Natasha Cloud, we saw from game 1, that's going to be my best bet. We're just running this back. They only bumped it up 1 point. We hit the whole ladder. We hit the 10 plus. We hit the 15 plus. We hit the 20 plus. She's now the series leader in points, which, we gave that out 100-1 last episode. That's looking pretty tasty if that could come around and hit. I think the way I want to approach this, though, if I'm going to take a side, is with Satu. So I think the same game parlay, if you take Satu 15 plus and Phoenix money line, or Satu under her points and the New York money line, I think that's how I'm going to play it. I think I'm going to play the two of those and be like, Satu's the swing factor, because 2 for 17, I mean, it seems terrible, but it didn't look good. Like, Satu did not look good out there. And she has had those stretches this season and even at times in her career for someone who on paper looks like one of the most talented players, if not the most talented player in the league. The shot's so smooth. It's all so effortless. But at times it just doesn't seem to click. And I could see her going 4 for 13 again and them losing. And it's theoretically being shooting regression that just never came around. But it's actually Satu, not quite clicking in this environment with a really tough defense, whatever it may be. So I think I'm going to pair the money lines with Satu and make her basically the swing factor for this game, and kind of play it that way. Any final thoughts on this game before we go to a different series?
Yeah, I want to trust Satu. I really do. I just think I think backs against the wall. This is the time for AT and COD to really step up. So yeah. I would definitely lean looking towards them to put up some points. But if Satu is getting that volume, I get it.
So I'll say this, because to me, AT is not the type of player who goes. I mean, when she got 30 this year, it was like shocking. So if you get maybe like 18 from AT, 24 from Ka, you still need. I think you still need like 15 from Satu, because Akoma Kani, I love her. Her defense was really important in this game, but she also shot 2 for 11. And I don't think that's as much like with Satu. It's like, okay, maybe she missed some shots she should have made. Okoma Makani's a rookie in her first season in the playoffs. I would not be surprised if she struggles to shoot, to be honest. I
Yeah.
mean, Sammy Whitcomb. You could get some Sammy Whitcomb
Yes.
points.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
the third heat for you?
Yes.
Sammy?
Yes,
Of
dude.
course.
And she fucking kills New York. Like
Yeah.
she she kills her national team head coach. She knows
Okay.
what's expected. I think Nate needs to trust his bench a little more, and we've been saying this for months now because he's the one who's been playing 8 deep for a long time, with the exception of these last 2 meaningless games in the regular season. And like Cat came in and added value. Like I think if it's going to come to a point where if Satu is not hitting, maybe Nate is like, okay, backs against the wall, we need a spark plug, let's go, Sammy. Just get out there and fire.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. All right, let's go to Minnesota, Golden State. I think Minnesota had hands down the most impressive performance of the weekend. Now, they did play against the Golden State Valkyries, so I think, was fair to say looked a little overwhelmed, because this was a team that got swept 4-0 during the regular season series by Minnesota, and it was offensively they struggled. This game was very much the defense. They couldn't stop Minnesota. Minnesota got whatever they wanted. Natisha Heidemann continued her like electric run of ball that she's playing. Fee barely had to break a sweat. There were turnovers galore for Golden State. Did you see anything watching this game that you were like, I think that I'm intrigued by the Valks, and when they get their quote unquote home game in San Jose, I'm gonna be pretty interested here? Or were you kind of like, maybe not so much?
I mean, Minnesota is like too good, and like, yeah, I mean, in theory I would love to take the Valks at home, but it's not a real home game. So I mean, I thought Minnesota looked like shit to start this game. There was just a lack of energy, focus, turnovers. Courtney Williams looked horrible, and then like the second quarter when they took her out, Heidemann came in and like everywhere on the court. And it looks like Nakase is comfortable playing Burton, like giving her no rest, and I think that's probably why the turnovers pile up, the missed shots started coming in the second quarter, and then Minnesota. I mean, we haven't seen them blow too many leads. I mean, but they have blown a few, and both times at home in the Commissioner Cup final, and then of course against Seattle. But Seattle shot 15 of 30, and I mean, it's hard to beat any team when they put up 3-point numbers like that. And I mean, if that is your path to victory or your path to staying close, I'll take my chances on the other side. So, I just think Minnesota's too deep. They didn't even have to play, or until it got out of hand. They didn't really have to go that deep. So, it's an uphill battle. And I'm sure, if it wasn't for an Erica Wheeler shot, this would be a Seattle series. So, it's tough. But credit to the Valks for getting this far.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I and it is such a bummer. I mean, we've said it like 1,400 times on the podcast now, but it is such a bummer that we aren't getting to see Valhalla host a playoff game. Like that was the reward that was deserved. That crowd has been awesome all year. The crowd will probably still be awesome. I just don't think it's going to be enough. I'm not playing the spread or anything. It's a crazy spread. I'm going to be looking towards you. You mentioned Veronica Burton. If you can find her turnovers as a bet, I don't know if like any of the kind of funkier books out there will have that. I definitely would bet her turnover overs. I think you laid out well that she's really taking on like a massive usage role it's kind of over her head as a player, even though she's outstanding against this defense. I think there'd be turnovers galore. I will just quickly.
I was gonna say, I mean, like I was like staring at the line at the start of this game. And I mean, like if Minnesota does go down early, like absolutely, like it's time to fire. Like,
yeah. I think live betting this series could be a thing, because I do think Minnesota, like you said, I had forgotten how slow they started in that game. You're 100% right. They did not come out with energy to start. It was really the second and third, and even then eventually fourth, where they ran away with it. But I could see a little bit of playing with the food in the first half. So I think that's a good call from you. I quickly point out I'm really bummed that we did not get series leader for these, because two of the ones that I was looking at potentially if we got leaders was Jess Shepard rebounds and Janelle Salon threes, both in the lead. I don't mind those props if you can find them again for game 2. but what I'm going to go with is Veronica Burton assists. Over 5.5, a little bit juiced. I even like the 5+, like very juiced. If we were doing our Survivor game still, Dano, this would probably be my pick. She cleared this pretty easily in game 1, even in the big loss. She had 7 assists, also had 7 turnovers. We get the home playoff game, which means rotation players should shoot a little bit better. Always kind of like that downstream effect, going for like the lead guard assists when you're back home for that playoff game. She's had 5 or more assists every game since August 6th. That's the last 15 games. She really is in this role that it's so impressive. She's so deserved. We should shout out. She won Most Improved Player of the year today. Incredibly deserved. And it's really the playmaking role that I think kind of has cinched it. Like, to a certain degree, you can take more shots, you're going to score more. But going into that playmaker role and scoring role, she's been awesome. So I like her assist here. Any final thoughts on either game 2 or this series as a whole? I know you don't have a specific best bet for this game.
No, just shout out Watts. Hopefully he enjoys himself.
Yeah, hopefully he gets at least a good game to watch. All right, the NFL season is underway, so make sure you get the most out of the award-winning Action Network app. You got to be an Action Pro subscriber to do so. Because only Pro subscribers get real-time pick alerts from experts like Brandon Anderson, Stuckey, myself, and our entire Action Network team. Plus, you can access our pro projections powered by Sean Kerner and the predictive analytics team. To celebrate football's return, we've got a special offer. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro, get $20 off the annual price with the promo code Buckets20. So don't miss out on the best bets at the best prices. So visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use the promo code Buckets20. Get $20 off a year of Action Pro. All right, let's go to the latter 2 series. Let's go to Aces Storm. We'll end with the one that I've kind of been hand-waving the whole time. But Aces Storm, I am so glad that I was vehemently talked out of my Seattle interest last pod, because this was embarrassing, man. This team is kind of a joke. I hate how good this roster is, and I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's interplay. That locker room has had weird vibes 2 straight seasons, but like, this is pretty embarrassing. Like, they should not be getting smacked around by the Aces this much. Were you like, this is I know your bet for today is Aces. Were you as much like, did you from the start make this was Aces obviously, or did you have any interest in Seattle before you saw the 2 teams play?
No, I bet the Aces a couple times in a couple different ways. But I didn't think it would be that carefree. Like, I was talking with Doug Kazarian, and we're just like, is there any way the Aces don't roll at home? And it's like, you need them to play objectively bad, and you need Seattle to play their absolute best. And this is a Seattle team that has lost to, the Sun. They have a couple marquee wins, but so many marquee losses. So, no, the vibes can't be great. It's not like they have some rah vets. NECA's kind of like a silent leader, and Skyler probably wants to murder everyone. So it can't be positive. I know Noah Quinn's job is probably finished. I don't see how you bring her back. Maybe they put forth some effort. The crowd is decent. But to me, I think the Aces are locked in. I think defensively in the first half was a masterclass. And if the Aces hit, a decent percentage of their threes, and they're playing that kind of defense, you can't compete with them. You don't have the firepower. This is not a team that is known for shooting threes. They're in the bottom 4th of the league in 3-point makes, 3-point attempts. So, they get down. It's not a team that can really make a comeback. And so to me, I'm riding Asia Wilson,
Yeah, I think that's pretty smart. Yeah. So it's pretty solid. I will say, I think if you somehow will talk yourself into Seattle, I think this would be the type of, they talk about like the swing first half in those like game 3s when it's a 5-game series, like the team that's back against the wall does well in the first half. That's the only chance Seattle has, because you said it, they can't shoot 3. So if they fall behind in a game, there's no chance that they can they can't shoot their way back. So if you play like a first half plus full game, and this is one of those that's also funky because the Aces were -6 at home, and they were up to -6 at points today on the road. So the books are very much saying, wow, we mispriced game one. They don't usually move lines that much. To have a home and a road game price basically the exact same.
Yeah.
Seattle took money before game one. Looks like Aces took early money today, but it's starting to move back. So we'll see. I can't do it with Seattle. I will not bet them. I didn't bet them game one. I'm not going to bet them today. But I will say I thought it was a really nice whistle for Las Vegas. Now maybe I'm a little bit biased as an Aces hater and Seattle semi interested person, if you will. There were a couple of really tough calls I thought in the game. Asia had a really nice whistle, but she's good at getting a good whistle, and she's the best player in the league. Brittany Sykes, you don't buy it? You didn't see that?
No, I was going to bring up one example of a bad whistle too, like in that game that I saw that was so egregious. I had to, yes, dude.
Yeah,
the offensive foul. Oh my god,
one of the worst calls I've ever seen.
I can't. I would have been thrown out of the game.
Yeah,
that happened to me. Like and of course, like it is Jewel Lloyd, so it makes it that much sweeter.
Yeah, I think I would have lost my mind if I were NECA. The fact that she only dropped the ball is honestly relatively impressive, all things considered. I think the biggest thing here is going to be, so there were two basically complete non-factors in game one for Seattle. You had Brittany Sykes was one of the worst games I've ever seen. She had 0 points, 5 turnovers, 5 fouls, and was a minus 17 in 16 minutes.
Tony Snow.
What was that?
Like the famous Tony Snow set, like the 0-0.
I heard Tony Snow, and I was like, "Is this like a Game of Thrones thing?" Yeah.
No.
She was just getting cardio out there. It was the full the Club Trillion or whatever. Brutal game from her. And then I think that one you can expect her to bounce back. She's a good player. The other one, I think you just got to make the move at this point. Ezzy Magbagor, Asia's scoring 19 on her. She's doing nothing defensively. She scored 2 points. Meanwhile, Dominique Malanga had 12 and 11 in 24 minutes off the bench with the best plus-minus of their core 7 players. You're coaching for your life, Noel Quinn. Will you just put Malanga in? Ezzy is doing absolutely nothing out there. I don't see why she is still getting the minutes she is. Go for Malanga. Worst case, you're helping a young player get playoff minutes. But part of the reason I'm not going to trust that to happen is I've seen nothing from Noel Quinn to kind of trust her to make adjustments like that. So I will make my best bet Ezzy under 7.5 points because I think we can get there even if she does play her normal again. Since the All-Star break, she had 22 games. She's only reached double digits in 5 of them. She's gone under 8.5 in 15 of the 20. I'd love that 8.5 number if you find it out there, but mostly 7.5. And this is a bad matchup for her. And again, the minutes theoretically should go down. I just don't know if I trust it to happen, but that's only part of the cap. I think she can very much get there to the under in a full minutes load. Any final thoughts on this game in this series?
Yeah, Jackie Young guarding Skylar has just it's been tough. Like she forces her into some terrible shots. Skylar hit 2 threes, but outside of her 3, she was 2 for 8 from the field, and I think this team is best when Skylar is producing, and I don't see that happening in this upcoming game if Jackie's going to stay on her. And Jackie still produced, I think, 18 points, which was shocking, running around guarding Skylar the entire game. So, yeah, I mean, I'm on the Aces -5. I think the -6 is probably where I'd stop. I think, there's potential for this to fall, within that 10-6 range, being it on the road and being a closeout elimination game. I had texted you earlier about Chelsea Gray under points, just because she's not really getting that many attempts, I
think 4
in the playoffs
in game 1.
Yeah, and I think she's against this team, they scored all over the place, so they scored at all 3 levels. It's tough, but I don't know. I think this game could be a little volatile when it comes to points, with the exception of that Ezzy under. I love it. And yeah, I mean, you're right though about Noelle. It's like playing Ezzy late game situations when Dom has been effective she's been doing that all year. It's been terrible. So, I feel bad for Ezzy because the expectations for Ezzy the last few years, like of her trajectory, because she's a young player, have been kind of sky high, and I think a lot of people were excited to see them two play together. Maybe put NECA at the 3, and like a giant lineup, but it just it's just out there doing a whole lot of nothing.
I feel like we might hear something about her in the offseason because her like free throw shooting. So it's been something beyond just kind of a normal down season. What do you think? Just finally, I'll throw to you the same game parlay where you flip it. So you go Storm first half, Aces full game. Do you have any interest in that, or do you just is that overthinking? You just getting too cute? Just do Aces -5.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's potential there. I don't know if this starting lineup is like, scares me at all. Like,
yeah, that's
like fair. It really, really doesn't. And like, I don't think they won a quarter yesterday. Like, maybe at the end. Like, no. Just put up 52 points in the second half and lost the second half. That's unbelievable.
I mean, it's kind of the epitome of Seattle, where they just can't. If the offense isn't going, then the defense is easy, but they can't put it all together at any point, and it leads to just embarrassing results. Let's move on before I get too bummed, because I did love the Seattle team. I love this version of Seattle, and there's going to be basically nothing to show for it for this iteration, which is a bummer. We'll see. Honestly, I'm mostly curious what will happen in the offseason. We'll see if all these players reshuffle, if we get new coaches in there or whatever, but. It was such a theoretically great team that really, maybe I'm speaking too early, but really didn't give us anything. Let's go to the series I joked was the WNBA TV first round series, but it was actually the ABC series. But it's the one that for whatever reason, I can't find myself really getting into. It's Atlanta, Indiana. First game was decent. It went under. I wish I had played that under I had talked about. That will be my best bet for this game too. I didn't have a ton of even takeaways from this. The biggest thing for me was Brittany Griner playing like basically 8 minutes. I don't think that's going to change. I think Brianna Jones had a really good game 1, and Naz Hillman was in there, and Smesko said, "You know what, BG, you're gonna play 8 or so minutes, and hopefully that's enough." Did you have more that you took away from this game 1? And do you have any thoughts on game 2 even?
Yeah, the only way Indiana wins is if you get crazy shooting variance. Like, only way they stay close. Like, I just think, and Atlanta guards it through well. Atlanta has been phenomenal. And to your point about BG, yeah, I mean, like, there was a run when she was in, they force fed her like 3 times and 3 misses. I just hated watching it. And so I think Smesko is probably along the same lines of being, a hoop head like me, like, what the hell are we doing? Like, get her out of there. And I just, when it felt inevitable, like, that Atlanta was going to pull away, even when, Indiana was hanging. But like this, similar to what we were discussing with Seattle the first half, I think there might be potential for Indiana first quarter, first half. But I do think Atlanta will end up covering in this game. 4 points, 2 possessions, I think is very possible. And I mean, I think it's the first playoff win they've had since 2018, and I think they just keep it rolling. They know what's on the horizon with the Aces, so you want to get in, get out with everybody healthy. A team that's lost basically most of their guards for at least one portion of this year. Even Alicia Gray's missed a couple games, so want to get out this series healthy, and I think that we end up with no game 3s on Thursday. So I don't hate a dream. What do you call it? Dream Aces parlay, like on the money line, but like the obvious game that scares you, I think more is this one, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think so, but I'm with you. I'm on the Atlanta side here. Like I said, my favorite bet's the under. Kind of talked about that in the series preview. But But I don't feel like I have a great read, but I do really like what you just threw out there, the first half or first quarter parlayed with Atlanta, because I do think this, again, these crowds are good, and like the Indiana crowd is really going to bring it. They brought it all season. I think Kelsey Mitchell clearly has brought it. I want to see a little bit more from Aaliyah Boston. This actually theoretically should be a good matchup from her. She had a couple of really good playoff games last year, so I think she'll have a little bit more in the tank. Overall, I just think Atlanta's a much better team. If they're playing Griner less, I think that makes them an even better team. Talked about kind of the Naz Hillman on-off net rating stuff a lot this season, and how when she's on the court, they're they're a contending level team when they play their best crew. Jordan Kanda had a little foul trouble even in game one. So I think there's a really high ceiling to this Atlanta team. I think that kind of, we don't want to play Thursday parlay is definitely interesting. So
yeah, shout the whatever pod that you threw it out, the Nas Hillman 50-1 6 woman of the year. I think that's
we're so close. We're so close.
I'm not jinxing, the votes around. There's nothing we can do now.
That's a very good point. That is a very good point.
But no, shout out to that wonderful Monday night. Hell of a read. Great shit.
I'm praying that the voters did the right thing. So, all right, we will wrap it there. If you'd like to tail any of the bets we talked about today, make sure to look for the quick slip link in the episode description. We will be back in your podcast feed on Thursday morning, most likely. Now, if we do get the sweep of these two games and we don't have any games on Thursday, and we know that ahead of time, we might switch it. I am springing this on producer David right now. It's a little funky in the playoffs, so we might adjust to get the most out of the playoff schedule. If we were to go for Thursday morning with the episode release, then it would give us all 4 game 3s. However, if we aren't getting game 3s to cover, we might just go to the normal schedule. So keep an eye. Make sure you're subscribed to the show and have your notifications on. You won't miss an episode no matter when it drops. That's the way to do it. I'll also try to make sure to put something on social. We just want to get you the most coverage we can, because I don't know how many game 3s we will get. So we don't want to have, in the playoffs, an episode where we're not covering the stuff that you really need. So download the Action Network app, of course. Shouted that out earlier. I'll be posting those my picks from here before you listen. Then come here for the logic. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're listening as a podcast, rate and review. Those are both awesome and very helpful if you can do so. My thanks to David Payne on audio, Gifford Gould on the YouTube side of things, and for Dano and myself, let's get buckets.